The end of the fall season brings about a new tradition here in the ASUN. I'm Jordan Griffitt with the ASUN Conference, and today is our fall season in review. We're going to take a deep dive into each and every sport, including the teams that walked away with the trophy. Let's start off with cross country.
Let's start off with the men's side. The Men's Cross Country Championship could have also been deemed the EKU Showcase. Eastern Kentucky showed out in the championship as they registered 7 runners in the top 10 and 4 in the top 5. Their 55-point win margin was the biggest since Lipscomb's all the way back in 2013. National champion Ahmed Jaziri led the team with a time of 23, 22, and 40, while his teammate Dvorak finished closely behind at 23, 24, and 80. It marked the second year in a row that Jaziri has won the individual title. With the team's successes came the awards, as 3 other Kernels all ended up on the all-conference first team. He was not the only highlight of the race, as UCA's Julian Hasner earned ASUN Scholar Athlete of the Year. The graduate student also performed well, finishing 7th at the ASUN Championship. To round out the superlatives, Liberty runner Jacob Hess ran his way into ASUN Freshman of the Year. Now we look to the women's side. Much like the men's, the championship is where one team took a hold of the reins. The Lipscomb Bisons claimed the 2022 crown, totaling their 9th ASUN title. Head coach Nick Polk also swept up Coach of the Year honor as he helped his team finish with 4 runners in the top 10 at the championship. They didn't just stop there, as the Bisons garnered 8 spots on the all-conference squads. Second place finisher Lydia Miller moved on to the NCAA championship and finished in the top 100. Although Lipscomb finished on top, we had a different runner of the year. Your runner of the year and first place finisher was Callie Doan of the Liberty Flames. It marks her second time winning the award, as she set a new record for the fastest time running a 16:21 flat time. Doan wasn't done there, as she also collected more awards, getting ASUN Scholar Athlete of the Year for the 3rd straight season. She then placed 10th at the NCAA Southeast Regional in the 10K, with the Flames taking 9th place. And that was your cross-country wrap-up for 2022.
With cross country down, now we turn our attention to women's soccer. It was yet another thrilling ASUN championship, with overtime performances reaching all the way up until the final. Let's start with one of our semifinalists, the Central Arkansas Bears.
With just 2 years in the conference under the Bears' belt, they have proved to be a tough squad. After scoring a 6-9-4 overall record, it was good for the 6th seed in the championship. This year, they took yet another big leap, making it to the semifinals after advancing in an instant classic versus the Lipscomb Bisons. It was a game that went to penalty kicks, where keeper Kayla Perez shut down the lethal penalty ability of the Bisons. They then took the eventual champs to the brink in a 3-2 defeat in overtime. Standout Taylor Lassiter proved to be one of the toughest stops in the ASUN, scoring 5 times and racking up 11 points on the season. Now, on to our other semifinal contender, the Eastern Kentucky Kernels. The wins came in bunches for the Kernels, earning a 9-7-2 record, getting victories over Chattanooga, Wright State, and Detroit Mercy in the non-conference slate. They then unleashed their ability in the ASUN, grabbing 4 wins along with 2 stalemates. They also made good on their regular season wins by getting past the Kennesaw State Owls 1-0 in an incredible quarterfinal matchup. The defense was bolstered thanks to the effort from Lucy Ream, as she made her way onto the all-conference 3rd team. Then you have the offensive prowess from Maddie Lemry. Lemry was tied for 2nd in the league in scoring with 8 goals and a team high of 17 points. The 2nd team all-conference selection showed out for the Kernels this season. Now we are down to our final 2 teams. First up, the Liberty Flames. The Flames sported one of the fastest offenses in the ASUN, and it showed on the scoreboard with a 14-3-4 end-of-season tally. The 2 biggest strengths of this team was when the Flames played at home and when they played in ASUN competition. They didn't lose a regular season game in either situation. A 9-0-2 record rolled into the number 1 seed in the championship. The attack was humming on its way to the finals, beating EKU and Jacksonville by scoring 3 goals in each match. The Flames had a plethora of talent on the ASUN All Conference team, getting 9 total along with 4 on the All Freshman team. That number included keeper Ansley Leah, as she shut down teams repeatedly on her way to ASUN Goalkeeper of the Year. The accolades did not stop there, as head coach Lang Wiedemeyer was a unanimous selection for ASUN Coach of the Year. Our final stop on the women's soccer side will be with the champions, the FGCU Eagles. Florida Gulf Coast captured their 7th women's soccer championship after a stellar 1-1 advancement over Liberty in the finals. The game came down to PKs, where the Eagles took it 4-3 for its first finals appearance win since 2017. They were then handed the #1 team in the nation in the Florida State Seminoles in the NCAA tournament. The defense was superb all year, allowing just .60 goals per ASUN match in 2022. They secured their way to the 2 seed in the championship after winning 12 games with 2 gridlocks. FGCU scooped up a pair of superlative honors, as Leah Scarpelli earned Defensive Player of the Year and Erica Chippa collected Freshman of the Year. FGCU, you are the 2022 ASUN Women's Soccer Champions. And that was your women's soccer overview.
Now that we discussed the women's side, it's time to look at the men's side. It was a strong showing all year for the ASUN, with 2 teams finding themselves in the top 25. Let's take a look at the Final Four, with one side of the bracket going to PKs and the other one just a 1-goal game. Let's start off with the FGCU Eagles.
The Eagles made their 12th consecutive trip to the ASUN Championship this season and earned a first-round victory over North Florida to reach the league's Final Four for the 11th time in 12 seasons. Not only did they extend history with their tournament streak, but they made some noise in the regular season. They earned wins over Northwestern, Georgia Southern, and Mercer, allowing only 2 goals in those wins. That defense held up through the year, in part to keeper Wyatt Kitzner. He finished 2nd in the league in saves with 49. The attack was bolstered by the foot of Davey Alves, as he found himself on the first team All-Conference. They also remained as the only ASUN team to take down number 10 ranked Lipscomb. Next up are the Bellarmine Knights. Bellarmine had a flair for the dramatic all year long, and they proved that to be true in the tournament. Starting at the beginning of the season, they went down 2 games in the ASUN, but then rattled off an undefeated streak that lasted until the end of October. Much like the Eagles, they were also buoyed by the hands of their keeper. Matthew Brozovic posted the ASUN's 3rd lowest goals against average with just 1.04. Now looking at the postseason, the Knights are the first team in league history to be a part of 2 penalty kick shootouts in postseason play. They defeated the number 3 seeded Stetson Hatters in the first round before falling to number 2 UCA in the semifinals. The Knights with another stellar year. Now to the runner-ups, the Central Arkansas Bears. Another year meant another finals appearance for Central Arkansas. The non-conference schedule once again brought about fiery opponents, as the Bears faced Memphis, SMU, and number 3 ranked Washington, all in the month of September. Once it came to ASUN play, they were locked in. They scored a 5-1-2 record in league play. Kareem Diaw was joined by Sebastian Andreasen on the ASUN All-Conference first team, after Andreasen finished 2nd in the league with goals with 8 scores. Among them, the Bears were dangerous in the open field, ranking 34th nationally, averaging almost 2 goals per game at 1.94. UCA finished with the 2nd best record in the ASUN and showed it in the postseason with a PK win over Bellarmine on their way to the final. Last but certainly not least, our champions, the Lipscomb Bisons. The defending title holders came into this season looking to stay atop of the hill, and they did exactly that. Lipscomb captured their 4th regular season title and their 4th conference championship this year. The Bisons took hold of the season right from the jump, winning 7 of their first 8 games, outscoring opponents 25-5. Their non-conference schedule included a win over number 10 ranked St. Louis in a 1-goal battle versus number 5 ranked Kentucky. They then ran roughshod through the ASUN regular season, going 8-1, earning the top seed in the championship. And of course, they took care of business in postseason play, outscoring FGCU and UCA 7-2 to earn the 2022 ASUN men's soccer title. The trophy wasn't the only gold that they won this season, as they swept through superlative awards. Yeldrick Dahlman was tabbed Player of the Year after his 11-goal performance, which ranked 12th nationally. Then Noah Golden became the first ever 5-time All-ASUN first team selection by earning his second consecutive Defensive Player of the Year honor and third straight Scholar Athlete of the Year award. Michael Sibley, Nick Dang, and Charles Morrow all rounded out superlatives, while Hayes Wood was named the championship MVP for the second straight season. A truly unforgettable year for the Bisons.
With both sides of soccer in the books, it's time to talk about yet another electric volleyball season. It was a season that included plenty of jockeying toward the top of the standings, but the Liberty Flames secured the 1 seed, but another team walked away with the trophy. Let's get into our semifinalists, starting off with Kennesaw State.
Kennesaw State went 10-6 in conference matches this season and made its 8th consecutive ASUN championship appearance and its 12th overall. The Owls defeated Jacksonville State in the quarterfinals of this season's conference tournament for the program's 10th victory in the postseason. Manu Johnson became the first Kennesaw State volleyball student athlete to be named Freshman of the Year since 2013. Johnson also landed on the all-conference second team along with Shelby Dennis and Claire Parsons, earning third team nods. Next up, we head over to Nashville to talk about the Lipscomb Bisons. Lipscomb posted a 16-13 overall record, which included non-conference victories at home against Tennessee State and on the road against rival Belmont. 12 of those 16 wins came versus league play, while only losing 4 contests in the regular season. This year also marked the 18th consecutive tournament appearance and was a memorable one as they hosted the championship in Allen Arena. Outside hitter Caroline Stogner was the lone representative on the all-conference second team, while Addie Pelham scored a third team spot. And now to the number 1 seed Liberty Flames. The Flames had one of the best turnarounds in program history, securing the top seed and the program's first regular season crown. A 14-2 conference record led them all the way to the finals in the conference tournament after defeating Stetson and Lipscomb. The Flames were lifted in part to their dynamic duo of middle blocker Lydia Burtz and setter Delaney Dilfer, who both earned first-team all-conference honors. Dilfer was tabbed the setter of the year after leading the circuit in assists per set and total assists totaling over 1,100. Also, Coach Trevor Johnson was the unanimous pick for ASUN Coach of the Year after leading the Flames to 14 conference victories. Finally, we get to our champion, the FGCU Eagles. And what a run it was for the Eagles. They scored the number 2 seed heading into the tournament after yet another incredible year in the conference. They garnered 13 wins and only 3 losses, and all of the teams that they lost to wound up in the conference tournament. They were playing their best ball heading into the championship, winning 10 games in straight sets, 5 in a row to end the regular season. Once postseason play started, Eagles mode was activated. They slashed their way through the tournament, losing only 1 set to the Kennesaw State Owls. The Eagles defended their title yet again, and the postseason awards were littered with Eagles, starting with Lily Feltz, the ASUN Player of the Year, marking the 6th year in a row FGCU has claimed that title. They didn't stop there, as the Eagles included 5 all-conference team selections, 2 all-academic team members, and the ASUN Championship MVP, setter Chelsea Lockey. Doesn't get much better than the Eagles this season.
Lastly, let's talk about football. In the inaugural ASUN season, we left the year with 3 champions. EKU, Austin Peay, and Central Arkansas all secured their trophies in the first year with a full 6-team membership in the ASUN. Let's start off with Central Arkansas.
The Bears secured 2 wins in the non-conference slate versus Idaho State and WAC foe Stephen F. Austin, outscoring both opponents 65-23. The offense was lethal all year long, but especially in non-conference wins, scoring 49 versus Austin Peay, 51 against Kennesaw State, and 64 over North Alabama. It was yet another big year for the former Freshman of the Year running back Darius Hale. He gathered more than 1,000 all-purpose yards while finding the end zone 12 times. The talent was bursting at the seams all season long for UCA, boasting the ASUN Defensive Player of the Year, David Walker. Walker led the league with 12 sacks, taking away 83 yards from opposing offenses and earning several media accolades. They also won Freshman of the Year with offensive lineman Will Diggins, along with 8 total all-conference honorees. Now talking about the newfound conference members, the Austin Peay Governors. Austin Peay came out of the gates firing with 3 wins in their first 4 games, outscoring opponents 132-3. They then hosted the first ASUN Conference game and scored a win versus number 16 ranked Eastern Kentucky, 31-20. They were able to put up some lopsided scores all season long, getting wins with scores of 52-17 over Murray State, 31-14 over Kennesaw State. They claimed a share of the title with a 7-4 record, 3-2 in ASUN play, with only one of those losses versus FCS opponents. It was the best of both worlds for Austin Peay on offense and defense. Defensively, they led the ASUN and ranked 8th in the FCS for total defense per game at 317 yards, while finishing 3rd in the conference and 26th nationally in total offense, averaging 423 yards per game. It was hard to stop the duo of quarterback Mike DeLillo and wide receiver Dre McCray. DeLillo ended the year with 2,400 yards in the air, 21 touchdowns, and 9 of those went to McCray, who led in receiving yards with over 1,000 on the year. Last but not least, let's talk about not only one of the champions, but the team that represented the ASUN in the WAC in the FCS playoffs. I'm talking about the Eastern Kentucky Kernels. That appearance marked their return to the postseason for the first time since 2014. During the regular season, they tallied a win over an FBS opponent with a 7-overtime thriller at Bowling Green, 59-57. It was awards galore for EKU, collecting the ASUN Offensive Player of the Year in quarterback Parker McKinney and Coach of the Year in Walt Wells. They also had 5 players named to the all-conference teams, including McKinney, Dakota Allen, Peyton Collins, TK McClendon Jr., and Matthew Jackson. McKinney was a tank all season long, leading the ASUN in offense while also ranking 10th in the country with 452 yards per game. McKinney wrapped up the season listed top 5 nationally in nearly every passing statistic. There were also several marquee wins to talk about with EKU, including Bowling Green, WAC foe Southern Utah, number 15 ranked SEMO, Central Arkansas, and Kennesaw State.
And that will seal it. As always, a huge thank you to everyone who made this fall season possible here in the ASUN. I'm Jordan Griffitt with the ASUN Conference, and this was your fall season in review. We'll see you around the corner.